I got a little story, that's why I want to tell it. God dang it. Charlie Wilson.
Okay.
Okay, Charlie Wilson's Walt.
Yeah.
Alright. Actually, I can put that right there. Okay. Alright.
So you ready?
Yep.
Alright. Hey, welcome to the segment. This is our spoiler review of Bridge of Spies. We also did a spoiler-free review, so if you haven't seen the movie, click below, you can see the spoiler-free review. But let's jump into spoilers. Kevan, what do you want to talk about?
Well, actually, you know, as a film, it was, and we've talked about this already, it was fantastic. And, you know, in terms of spoilers, there was a lot of things in there that were very, very good. But let's talk about individuals. And this is my spoiler, actually. I didn't think that a certain actor really came over very well. And I'm just trying to... His name was Austin...
And he played Gary
Powers.
Gary Powers, yeah.
You know... Everybody else in the movie I thought was outstanding. You know, Sebastian Koch, you know, you've got Tom Hanks, you've got... I thought Mark Rylance ran away with it. I thought he was the best actor. And Tom Hanks second in that. Alan Alda, all brilliant. But I just... And I know you weren't supposed to like him as an individual, but I thought he's and no offense, I thought he was terrible.
Yeah, he seemed like Mr. American Man.
Yeah.
But I think maybe it was even like his haircut, the way he
too
walked.
modern. His gait was wrong.
Yeah.
He looked like he just came out of Now.
He should have been in like what's one of those teen movies we saw this summer? You know, like the Maze Runner or something instead of this.
It just didn't look believable.
Yeah.
Not even when he was asking questions. And I know he was supposed to be a bit of an idiot, you know, and they didn't like him. But beyond all that, he just didn't seem real, and didn't fit into the plot at all somehow.
And I'll tell you, and I'm sure this was intended, but it was not a character that you could really get into the mind of. You couldn't really relate to him, but I found myself relating to a lot of characters in this movie.
Oh God, yeah, it really
almost everybody else in this movie. You knew what they were thinking. You knew why they were making the decisions they were making. This guy was just like Mr. American Pilot Man, who's kind of a selfish almost. But I guess maybe that was...
Yeah, but I think a little bit of that's casting, because they got everybody else right, and I think, you know, you can still play an unlikable character but have something about you. He just didn't have anything. I think he's... I don't think he's a star. I mean, compared to what, you know, Mark, Rylance, Rudolph Abel, I thought he was outstanding. You know, his character was so believable, very calm, you know, an English actor, by the way. Yeah, I love the English actors. Great job, and he's worked with Spielberg before, actually, in Shakespeare, in the Globe in England. So that's kind of an interesting little tie-in. I'm not quite sure how that worked out, but Tom Hanks nailed it as usual. Superb. Doesn't seem to get any older.
Yeah, he's you know,
dancing on the keys almost.
Yeah, he looks great. Yeah, you know, it's funny because, you know, we're talking about spoilers.
There weren't many.
I'm almost thinking there's not that many spoilers to talk about because there was so many decisions that were made in the movie, and it progressed into a way. Well, too, you know, spoilers really. I mean, the part of the end scenes were in the trailer. Like you know what's going to happen, and especially too if you know the story. But a lot of people don't know the story, but you know that they're gonna. And that's funny because it was a great story, and it was a great watch. But I felt like by the time the movie ended, you knew that's how it was going to end.
Well, true.
They weren't going to leave without the kid.
No, well, and that's what we were hoping for. But it's interesting, you know, since 1960-61, when this is alleged to have taken place, to 2015, the change in, you know, the whole America, the way you view communism and everything else is quite interesting. You know, such an anti-communist feel in the 60s, you know, the courts were absolutely against Rudolph, you know, wanting him, you know, hung basically, and were fining, and everybody was pro-American, and then you kind of move forward to 2015, everything's changed, you know. You know, the laws have changed, the attorneys, the way they're dealing with it. I just thought it was interesting that
we even have communists running for president. And I'm not going to say which ones. We don't need to get into that.
But I think, you know, instead of under the bed, they're in the bed now. But I mean, you know, it is interesting how everything's changed, and I think that was well, I think that was a lot of what they were trying to show, how the world has changed, you know. And you think about the way the Berlin Wall went up. I mean, they actually showed that in such a way that, can you imagine, one minute you're walking down the street, and next minute you can't even walk down the other side? I mean, it's a horrible feeling. And I remember being at school, because I'm old, and all the time I kept, you know, fearing the bomb, you know, and they're talking about what to do, fill your bathtub with water, and, you know, and we lived in fear of that atom bomb or, you know, whatever it was going to be from Russia. And so for very, very many years, I mean, you lived that fear that, and that film kind of brought it home to me a little bit, and I was kind of thinking, oh my God, I remember that. It was quite shocking, and then, you know, I think what really lifted us out of all that was the man landing on the moon, but we won't get into that at all. But,
but anyways, wow.
But it is true. I mean,
yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. I mean, we can't even, in a lot of ways, it doesn't even make sense what they're going through. Like, you can't even imagine, like, what was such a big deal anyways. You know, like, yeah, you guys, you know, want to have free trade. You guys don't. So don't trade with each other. Exactly. Who cares? Why are we killing each other?
Exactly.
You know?
It's kind of interesting.
It was just, you know, we don't even think that way as a society anymore. Like we don't. I think the majority of Americans just don't give a shit about what's going on in another country. Anyways.
Well, that's why I think this is an important film, because it does go back to an era when things were different. And like I said, in 55 years, the world's changed immensely. I mean, unbelievably so. But I wanted to talk about Tom Hanks a little bit. And this is kind of a sidebar story, and it's not anything to do with this. I was actually lucky enough to be with him on set in Charlie Wilson's War.
You were in Charlie Wilson's War?
Yeah, I was, yeah. Only as an extra, not claiming any fame here.
You were Charlie, right?
yeah. So I got to dress up, you know, tuxedo and everything, and it was very, very cool and very fun. And there was a gentleman in the changing area, and he was claiming they was in a band, and that Tom Hanks was actually a fan of that band. And you know, you listen to those stories and you're not really sure. Yeah, all right, whatever. And so he asked one of the girls who was doing makeup, "Can you tell Tom that I'm here, you know, as an extra?" And I didn't think anything would happen. Anyway, we're sitting in, and we're down at the Ritz-Carlton in Pasadena, and we're filming Charlie Wilson's War, and we're at the table, and we got the Prince of, I think it was Bhutto or wherever it was, Pakistan. He was up there. Everybody's set, and we're paused for a moment. And the camera goes down, and nobody's allowed to talk. You know, you're on set, you've all got to be quiet, so you're just looking around. And then Tom Hanks said, calls this gentleman's name out. And let's say it's whatever it is, you know. And he goes, "Yeah!" He said, "I'm a fan of yours." So Tom Hanks is calling to this gentleman, "I'm a fan of yours." And everybody in the room was like, "Really? Well, what a cool guy to have done that," and gave this guy, who obviously back in his day was a player of a band or whatever, and to give him that kudos in front of everybody. I thought that tells me Tom Hanks is one of the greatest guys that ever walked on this planet.
Watch him in the interviews. He seems like a decent dude.
Well, you know, I work with, again, I'm not trying to brag, but I mean, I was there working with him. He's very sincere, very nice, very caring, cares about everybody on set. Really nice man. Top drawer. And you know, I'm so pleased that he gets these great parts. And Spielberg.
Him and Spielberg. I mean, they've done some amazing freaking things.
Well, I'm gonna give you a little bit of an insight as well about Spielberg, because I got to work with him a bit. He's actually the cameraman.
Oh wow! So he's there during the shots.
You might not appreciate me telling you, but he is. That's what he does. He actually sets the shots. He's actually on the camera. Uses an alias. So there's a spoiler. Wow. There's a spoiler for you.
Interesting.
Oh yes, sir. I was there
taking notes. Okay.
So write that one down.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What about the way that this movie concluded? I guess well, I mean,
you made it. There's like 5 endings almost.
I was getting annoyed with that when the guy gets into the car at the very last scene. Oh no! When they put him in the car and they don't hug him. Right?
Oh yeah. Do you think that's
I'm like in scene, in movie?
Right.
Let's go. Right. This is good right there.
Right.
Then he is arriving home.
Yeah.
And then his wife comes in and he's on the bed. In scene, in movie, we're good. But then they have to put in that train nonsense.
I know.
You know, just to like, yeah, we know, dude. You were on, like, obviously, like, the news reporter guy saying your name positive. Like, we know, we don't have to see, like, everybody on the train, like, start, you know, hey, good job. Yeah.
It's the same lady who's giving him the daggers.
That was a little corny. That was like...
That's the only bit they could have done.
Yeah, that's the only bit I didn't appreciate was the 3 or 4 endings. I thought it would have been much stronger. Like, can you imagine this? If they don't hug him, and he gets into the car, and it fades to black, and then they do that end where they're saying what happened to the people, and then music starts.
It would have been just perfect.
Boom. Yeah.
Didn't even need to go home.
Yeah. Just let us.
But that's overthinking the movie sometimes, you know, from the director's perspective.
I'm gonna buy this DVD. I'm gonna put it on my computer, and I'm gonna end it there, and then I'm gonna burn the disc, and then I'm gonna watch it that way.
There you go. Well, I enjoyed it. So we've talked on our other show about the scores. So I'm going to tell you what I scored it. 9 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. I thought it was awesome.
I'm doing it a solid A. So you know, he does the numbers, I do the letters. Yep. Solid A. Definite, solid, timeless, classic movie. But having said that, it's no Star Wars. It's still not Indiana Jones. It's not like these... We're not going to look back at 2015 and be like, that was that year when Bridge of Spies was made. Not really. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's going to be... The
Godfather, you know.
Yeah, it's not going to be like, things changed once Bridge of Spies was made. You know, because you look back like... Saving Private Ryan. Things changed things.
That changed war.
Yeah, it changed a lot of film. This is a solid, great film. Schindler's List changed things. It was cutting edge, different. Yeah. This is just solid Steven Spielberg. It's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be in his top 10 movies.
Absolutely.
You know, someday. When you look back on his career... But it's not going to be like, this one changed Hollywood anymore.
Yeah, it felt like almost like a film noir version of what he does. I thought it was excellent. Yeah, it really was. Very enjoyable from a filmmaking perspective, you know, sitting down and looking at the way the scenery was applied, you know, the makeup. Everything was accurate, or at least it looked accurate.
And you know, it's one of these movies where I was wondering as I was looking around at the movie, you know, just of like how they make that? How did they how'd they make this set look that like how'd they achieve some of this stuff? Because it was just great, and you could tell a lot of it was practical, especially when you're on the East Berlin side, and it's that kind of desolation look. You know, it's just cool. You could tell
there was actually, you know, you just kind of made me think about it. The opening shot when he came out of the tube or the railway station. And then they cross over and he's doing the painting. And then you had that skyline. I wonder if that was the same skyline as what would have been available in the 60s.
Obviously, I'm sure it was.
I hope it was, because it looked a little bit too modern, you know?
Yeah,
so
well, you know they would have done something with that.
It felt like it was a little modern, but hey, you know, other than that, I thought it was great. Great job.
Yeah, great movie. And if you just watched the end of this, you probably don't care about the spoiler-free review, but in the link below, you can check out what first fans had to say about the movie. I interviewed people right as they were coming out of the movie and giving their opinions, so you can click below and see that. Subscribe to Blue Number Media here on YouTube and BlueNumberMedia.com. If you want to send us a message, it's BlueNumberMedia@gmail.com. And we'll see you next time. We got lots of stuff coming up.
Write your comments below as well.
Yeah, comment below. Let us know what you thought of the movie. And what you think about, you brought up the moon landings, what you think about the moon landings, and all sorts of fun stuff.
I opened up some boxes there. You know?
All right, cool. Well, we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks, bye.
I don't even know, did you mention the moon landings in the spoiler one or the spoiler free?
The spoiler.
Yeah, okay, so in this one, okay.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it in the other one. Yeah.